YouTube people? My name is CoolPus96 and today I am going to be talking about some of my favorite relationships and ships. Now since today is Valentine's Day, I thought I would take a look into some of my favorite couples that I ship, some that are canon in the series or non-canon in the series that I just paired up or like everyone else. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. And this is just my personal opinion only. If you guys want to share who you love to ship, like who your favorite couples are, whether they're canon or non-canon, just feel free to give a shout out in the comments. I would love to hear who you guys ship. It's just so much fun to do this, so on with the show! So I want to talk about my all-time favorite ship, Doc from Gorillas. I know I have talked about it in my D-Day anniversary special that happened last year, but I wanted to talk about it more since today is Valentine's Day, and I know I'm one of those people who are ship Doc, and you're probably thinking, ugh, why do you ship them? They're not a good couple, like, ugh, just stop. Well, the reason I really love the Doc ship is because I think Tootie's really adorableness and sense of innocence balances out the way of Murdock's meanness and his really harsh tones and all that. But I think they really make a good couple, especially since Murdock has talked a person out of suicide a few years back and has saved the noodle from the El Mañana video. Now, I know the El Mañana video is tragic, but his intentions were good, I swear. I know I read it somewhere, I can't remember where, but Murdock was really trying to save Noodle from this super psycho stalker whose name I cannot remember for the life of me. But he literally wanted to Noodle just permanently so he could be a member of the band. So that's pretty much how the whole El Mañana video came into place in the first place. So that's really honestly what happened in the El Mañana video. Murdock saved Noodle because he locked the super stalker creepy guy up in the floating island, and then rest is history in the El Mañana video. And another one of my favorite couples is, actually I got two more. They're in the Disney subject, and they are Hercules and Megara from Disney's Hercules and Tarzan and Jane from Disney's Tarzan. Now the reason I love Hercules and Megara is because when they first met, I just kind of found it really cute. Like, as I grew up and started realizing more about relationships and all that. With the way Megara was, she was trying to save herself, and I applaud her for that. But I think she honestly really needed to be saved by Hercules there, because that river god or whatever it was called, it wasn't gonna have it. So, and I just love how awkward and adorable Hercules is to Megara. He eventually wins her over, and especially like after the whole I Won't Say I'm in Love song, which is one of my all-time favorite Disney songs. And after Hades tells Hercules of that Megara was like a spy for him, because she sold her soul to save an old boyfriend who then was a dumbass and left her for another woman. So that's why Megara was working with Hades. And even after Hercules was so PO'd about what Megara did to him, she still had feelings for him, and she saved him, and then Hercules made a deal with Hades saying, take me in her place. If I don't save her, I'll go into the river of Styx. So Hercules saves Megara, thank God, and he literally gives up his immortality to stay on Earth and become a demigod with Megara so he wouldn't feel so alone. And I think that's just really special. Like, he gave up the one thing he wanted most out of in life, was to belong somewhere, like with his real family, and then he found Megara and realized that she's the one thing that really truly makes him feel belong. So I really like that. It had a good ending. And then with Tarzan and Jane, you know, like the classic story, Tarzan was raised in the jungle by gorillas, and then humans came along, and then he fell in love with Jane, blah 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 blah, like the rest is history, as we say. Now with Hercules and Jane, or sorry, I meant Tarzan and Jane. I swear, I meant Tarzan and Jane. I'm having my moment for the day. With Tarzan and Jane, I really like it because Tarzan wanted to make himself a better person for Jane. Like, after the movie ended, they continued on with the series The Legend of Tarzan, which went on from the early or mid it went on from like about the early to mid 2000s kind of deal, and it was a really good show. I highly recommend watching it. Really good show. And Tarzan, he wanted to make himself a better man for Jane because Jane would always go on about how sophisticated England was and what they did for weddings and how their civilization was and all that from what she was used to being raised on. And Tarzan wanted to better himself. Like, in one episode, Jane was complaining about Tarzan not being proper because some old friends of hers from England came to visit her. And Tarzan wanted to make himself better for Jane so she would think he would be proper enough for her. I thought that was so sweet. Like, I love how he cares and loves Jane so much that he is even willing to change himself, because that happens so much during relationships. Like, it's usually the girl that would change for the guy, and not always in the best way. But I love how Tarzan would try to change himself so he could be better for Jane. But then Jane would realize that Tarzan is perfect just the way he is, and that's why she fell in love with him. That's kind of one thing I always loved about Tarzan and Jane. Like, they really are meant for each other. That's what I always loved. And I'm really glad I grew up with that series. And another one of my favorite cartoon couples is Ruby and Sapphire from Steven Universe. I really love Steven Universe. I got into it maybe a year or so after the show came on. So I was really behind on this series. So when I started watching it, like, I just binged up until whatever season was on at the time, few years ago. And when I learned that Ruby and Sapphire were fused together as Garnet, I was like, whoa, did not see that coming. And as we got dug into the further history of fusion and all that, when Ruby and Sapphire were telling Steven about how they met and all that, I'm just like, oh. Like, inner me was just screaming like crazy. Because they were so awkward, like, especially with Ruby. She was the most awkward, and Sapphire was just cool, calm, and collected. And they just pair up so well together. I'm really glad that Rebecca Sugar has made a show like Steven Universe to not just embrace equality, but love in general. And that's the main message of the show, is love. Because that was the answer. The answer, that's what the name of the episode was. Sorry. But that's just it. When Rose asked them what the answer was, and Steven said, what is it? And Garnet's just love. Because that's it. That's the real reason, love. Like, they have such a strong, huge bond that they always stay fused together and have Garnet, who's one of the most badass characters of all time. And I think another one of my favorite couples is, oh, jeebers, there's somebody that I ship. You know, there's like Arnold, Shortman, and Helga from the Hey Arnold series. I was really happy that they finally got together in the Jungle movie. That was one thing I hope that Craig Bartlett would finally answer, is will they or will they not, because of the whole, like, Lila thing, because Arnold liking Lila. But when Lila first came onto the series, Lila was the one that liked, like, Arnold. And Helga was the reason that Arnold started to like Lila. But yeah, I was really happy that Arnold and Helga got together, because I picked a really bad timing to watch the Jungle movie, because it was like 2 or almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and when I saw them kiss, I literally had to scream into my pillow because I didn't want to wake up my parents. I was just that excited, because I'm like, finally! Like, I grew up watching Hey Arnold, and I still watch it. Like, I just watched it last night, too. And, yeah, granted, Helga's methods, like, for stalking and the whole shrine thing are extremely unhealthy, but that was her way of expressing herself, because she couldn't really figure out another way how. I think that's what I'm trying to go with. I know I'm trying to think of something else, but my head can't really process it. But I'm just glad they finally got together. I think another one of my favorite couples is Marge and Homer Simpson. Like, I literally, and I'm being serious when I say this, I literally have been watching The Simpsons my entire life, ever since I was a tiny little baby. And growing up, I started realizing more how they are made for each other. Like with Homer, he makes so many mistakes, and like no family is perfect. Like nobody is perfect in general. That's just how we are. Nobody is perfect. No matter how hard we try to be, it's just never gonna happen. There's nobody that's perfect. But with the way Homer is, Marge's seriousness at times really helps, and caring really helps balance his obnoxious attitude and going like all over the place. But with Homer, like he makes countless and countless mistakes, like in every single episode, and he always tries to fix it in the end, and that's what I like about it, because he realizes that he has done wrong and he wants to make amends, like try to make things better. And Marge, like she's made countless mistakes as well, and then at one point she would realize she was in the wrong, and then she would try to make amends and try to fix it, everything at the same time as well. And that's what I really like. Like they realize at some point that they are in the wrong, and then they try to make it better. That's one thing I always applaud The Simpsons for doing, because not a lot of cartoons would do that. Like Family Guy, I used to watch Family Guy like crazy when I was younger, and I honestly, I just can't stand it anymore. It's one of the shows I just wish it would end. It just really needs to end. I can't stand it anymore. But with Marge and Homer, they were really made for each other. Like, yeah, Homer got Marge pregos with Bart, but it was like a happy accident, because they got, like, again, nobody's perfect, and their marriage hasn't always been perfect, but they try to help each other out in their own weird way. I hope you guys know where I'm coming with this. But I think they're just a really good couple for each other, and I'm glad that they withstood the test of time, as cheesy as that sounds. Like, especially in the Simpsons movie, with what Homer did and in all the situations. And then Marge left Homer a message saying, to prove I'm doing this, I taped this over our wedding video. And that really struck a chord with me, because at the time the Simpsons movie came out, I was like 11 years old. So I was somewhat still trying to learn, like, slash new into the whole relationship thing, like with crushes and all that. But it was just really something that struck a nerve with me, and it stayed with me like that ever since. And the last relationship that I want to talk about is Gomez and Morticia Addams. Now, I grew up watching the Addams Family and the movies, and I really loved it. Like, I've always been into the non-normal kind of styles, which just really helped me shape into the person I am today, because I never really liked being the normal-esque type person that society wants me to be. Like, I just say F to society. So Gomez and Morticia Addams, I love how they were never ever afraid to express themselves emotionally and physically, you know, and just all that. Like, they're like my ultimate relationship goals. Like, for me, I'm a really weird person. I could just burst out into random words, or like I could just do any random thing at any random time. And I hope that I would find somebody that will accept me for the way I am, and who will love me for that. Because it's just a lot of fun. Like, I love who I am, and I love being the weird person that I am. And with Gomez and Morticia, they were probably like the first androgynous, I hope I said that word right, sorry if I didn't, but they were like the first non-normal couples that I remember seeing on TV, and I'm really glad I have, because it's so much more fun to be on the outside of the box kind of deal. And I just love how they care for one another, and they care deeply for their kids too, and they're just, they're just like one of my favorite couples. I'm glad that they were created. They're just one of my favorite couples ever. Their relationship goals. So, on the other side of the sad note, I have to end this video because of the stupid 15 time limit. But thank you guys so extremely much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch this video. And I hope you guys have a really great Valentine's Day. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. So, see ya!